Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Teacher Joseph podcast. Today, we're going to look at the role of creativity both in motivation and in your daily learning. First of all, the role of creativity in motivation. Did you know that everything you do, you create? For example, if you walk into an office with a very long face, as we say in English, looking very unhappy, you're going to create the ambience in that office. It will determine whether people like you or not, especially in the English world. If I approach you and ask a question and you, yeah, you're creating an ambience, maybe not a very nice one. You also create an ambience when you're learning English, and you do this by choosing where you study, choosing what you study, and choosing how those things impact you. The role of creativity when it comes to learning is equally dangerous. If you don't create things, you're not going to learn very fast. Let's look at a few examples. In fact, a nice metaphor might help. Imagine that there's a car outside your house. It's not your car, but it's a car that you use. Let's say that you rent it, or maybe you use your parents' car, or your husband's car, or your wife's car. Okay, it's not yours. It's outside your house, but every day it does the job. Takes you to work, brings you back. You don't need to know anything about the car. You recognize it, you use it, but you're not going to look under the hood of the car or under the bonnet, as we say in British English, to see what's in there. Okay? You don't really care about the car. It's something functional and it's something that you use. If that's where you are with your English, then things need to go a little bit deeper, because that kind of superficial English, which you use in the same way as you might use the car to get to work, that kind of superficial English is good. It will help you do your daily job in the same way as the car helps you to go and come back, but it's not going to help you penetrate the language. A lot of my students that come to me, I hear the same thing. Oh, I'm at a level, but I don't really know how to penetrate deeper into the language. I'm kind of stuck, but I don't know why, because I know a lot of words, I know a lot of grammar, I know a lot of expression, but I just can't seem to kind of connect somehow. And my question is always the same. Do you create? Do you write? Are you able to make things in English to make it alive? And the answer is usually no. Now, I'm not expecting all of us to be Shakespeare, okay? Not everyone can write in the way that I'm talking about, but there has to be some kind of creativity. If you keep coming to me and say, give me an essay for homework, give me a book to read, give me some questions, some multiple choice questions. Oh, it's very good, and I will give you those things, of course. But you can't rely on those things to make your English perfect. You need to be the creator of your world. What do you think created the world you live in now? Do you think that accidentally you're just kind of like there talking in English? Well, no, because your expression in your own language, whatever that is, let's say it's Russian, okay, creates your world. You let people know if you're happy or unhappy. You share with them your life, and that creates opinions, and that creates your ambience. And if you don't do that in a second language, such as English, then you will see that it's a little bit dry, and you'll very soon discover that you're not connecting with people. Why not? Because you've no way to create. My advice to you today is if you haven't used creativity in your learning process, please bring it. Bring it in today. I'm not asking you to rewrite Shakespeare's greatest sonnets, okay? But in every country in the world, alongside the capitalist agenda, we have tales of our past. If you go to Scotland and Ireland, it's fairies, sea monsters, gods in the mountains, and demons. And from what I can gather and talking to many students around the world, it's the same in most cultures. There is a narrative, a creativity there, which isn't really spoken about so much these days, but it kind of shapes the culture. It's a narrative. And you need to create your own narrative. You need to begin by expressing yourself in creative ways in English. That doesn't have to be necessarily writing a book, but it can begin by exploring how to authentically express how you feel in English. That can be by how your colleagues perceive you. If you speak in broken English, my name is Joseph and I work here. You can see that for some people that would be a little bit draining. Whereas if you just look at your breathing, my name is Joseph and I work here. It sounds much more authentic and it's easier on your chest as well with your breathing. You have to be creative. You have to find new ways to connect with other people, to link in, to really feel that you're part of the crowd. Many people forget that language learning and language expression doesn't just belong to you. It needs the whole world to share it with you. And the reason for that is because it's a community experience. So my advice to you today is if you haven't started that journey of creativity by writing poetry, 2 lines a day, and I don't mean a diary, okay? What I'm talking about here is really authentically writing about something in your environment or create a character that you want to write about. Let's call him Sammy the dog, okay? And you can write about how great Sammy is. Make him your baby, you know. No one's going to see it except maybe your English teacher. So it's okay to begin doing that. There's nothing to be ashamed of. There's also something in our cultures these days which tries to say that creativity has no value because there's no money in it. But yet creativity is, as far as I can tell you, the only way that you're going to be able to learn. If you learn without being creative, very soon you're going to hit a very big and nasty glass ceiling where you find that you can't express yourself, you can't really speak well, nobody really gets what you're trying to say. So my advice to you today, just to wrap up this podcast, is be as creative as you can. First of all, with motivation, create your space for learning. Create your own environment by choosing the correct teacher or language exchange partner. Create your own world by making sure that when you walk into your work in the English-speaking world, begin to notice how you are compared to other people. Are other people smiling and welcoming and you're not? Are you smiling and welcoming and maybe other people are not? You have to create your own environment there. Secondly, creativity with learning, get writing. Whether it's Sammy the dog, Sheila the turtle, or whether it's something maybe a little bit more real for you, but try to get away from these very basic work questions. I know the IELTS questions can be a bit hard. Describe a time that you went to a beautiful beach. I mean, really, yeah, it's not exactly something that you might want to write about, but whatever way you do it, create your own reality remembering that you really need to have some kind of authentic expression, and without it, your English is always going to be very dry and you're not really going to connect well. It can be superficial at first, just copy somebody else, you know. Find somebody that writes really well and pick up the ideas of a story from them. I'm not asking you to copy their stories, but maybe you could create something similar. Okay, let's talk about Harry Potter. Maybe you could make a story about I don't know, Larry the Wizard, you know? But you need to begin somewhere. You have to begin with some kind of creativity, and that is the authentic way into the depth of the language once you begin to nurture that. All right, I think I've made my point and probably overstated it, so I'm going to end here, and I'll see you all again soon. Take care and goodbye.